Hello and welcome, podcast listeners. My name is Ellen Stewart, and I am the Pushy Broad from the Bronx.
She's the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York. Follow her voice, a stray dog is nice. She's the pushy broad from the Bronx, oh yeah. Don't be surprised if you wanna listen twice. Make decisions, find the right choice. Know yourself better, find your own voice. It's okay if you need help today, cause everybody needs a little push. From the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York.
Welcome to my weekly podcast, with new episodes airing every Monday. I hope to inspire you, coach you, sometimes make you laugh, and give you the push moment you need to start thinking differently about the decisions you make in your life. The topic of this podcast, episode 27, is Play to Your Strengths. Are you in a situation where you're thinking about reinventing yourself in terms of your career? Or maybe you're trying to step outside the box and do something completely different. Maybe you're in a situation where you've been on the same job for countless number of years and you're bored and tired and frustrated and want to step out and do something completely different. Or maybe you're being laid off and now you're faced with the idea of what to do next. Let's see what's happening in this world of change of career and see how often we begin to reinvent ourselves and do the things that maybe this time we would really like to do. Let's see if you can find your push moment to begin reinventing yourself.
Everybody needs a little push. Everybody needs a little push. Everybody needs a little push. Everybody needs a little push.
Dear Pushy Broad from the Bronx, I'm in a corporate job for 10 years. This job provides me with security and some financial stability. However, I am really bored to tears. I don't find any stimulation at work, and yet I'm afraid to make a change. I seem to be most happy spending my time in my kitchen just cooking and baking for the friends and family. How do I quit this day job and follow my passion? Darlene from St. Paul. Thanks so much for sharing, Darlene. I am so glad for your email. So many people come to me with career questions, reinventions. How do I start over again? How do I do the thing I really want to do? We spend most of our lives at work. So the things that we do for work should try to be as pleasant as possible. We spend on average of 35 to 40 hours a week minimum at work. And that happens 52 weeks a year, maybe 50 weeks a year if we have an average 2 weeks vacation, at least in the United States. In Europe, maybe a little less. But nevertheless, we spend a lot of time at work. And we have to go there because we have to pay the bills. So let's see if we can do something that really stimulates us, excites us, makes us feel happy to get up in the morning and go. So if your passion is cooking and making cookies for your friends, then start small. There are lots of people that have the financial stability to just quit their job and to do something on their own, and they have enough money to pay their bills while they're researching something new. That's not a lot of us. A lot of us still need to pay the bills and make sure the electricity gets turned on and make sure the kids have clothes, which means we may be tied to some kind of stable income job. The first thing I would like you to realize is that you are not stuck. So if it means that you have to take a little extra time in the evenings or the weekends to do something on your own, to see what it would be like to maybe bake some cookies and sell them at a flea market or a garage sale, or start to look and investigate what kinds of things you can do online, then that's what you're going to have to do. Take a little extra time, because otherwise you'll be stuck in a job that you really don't want to be in. Find what your passion is. Find what makes you smile, what makes you happy, what you want to get up for in the morning, and then begin to do research. Before the web, it took us forever to find what we needed to do. But now you can let your fingers do the walking and find a different way. You are very fortunate, Darlene, that you have discovered a passion in cooking and baking for friends. So pursue it so that you have no regrets. See where it goes. And let me know. I wish you all the best. Here is another email from one of my listeners.
Dear Pushy Broad from the Bronx, I just got laid off, and I feel totally lost. But after 15 years in one company, I just don't feel like doing the same work. I'm not sure where to begin to discover this new chapter in my life. Any suggestions? Chase from Knoxville.
Thanks so much for your email, Chase. I have so many clients that fall into your category. Been working at the same job 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and are retiring and still young and still want to work, or have decided that they can't afford to retire and do have to find something else because they've gotten laid off. So, here are some of my suggestions. One of the best ways to decide what you want to do is to simply browse. You know what it's like when you go shopping for something, whatever it is. Ladies, let's say you're going shopping for shoes or for clothing and you really don't need anything. Or guys, maybe you're walking into Best Buy and you're just looking around to see what the new gadgets are like, or you're walking into a clothing store and just looking around without the intention of buying. So you begin the process of looking around, just browsing, just like when you surf the web. Or when you go into a department store and you don't have any real money to spend right at the moment, but you're just browsing. You're looking at things, you're analyzing them, you're choosing a color that you like, or you're deciding whether or not you can afford what you're looking at. You are not going to buy, but you're just going to browse. You may want to see what the new styles are about. You may want to see what the new colors are for the new season. That's the difference between buying and browsing. So, here's something you can do when you're trying to reinvent yourself and trying to decide what you're going to do next. Search a popular job search engine like Monster or Career Builder or Indeed.com. I need you to search for any field that you are interested in. Remember, you don't have to be qualified in that field. You just have to be interested in it. Maybe it's something that you've always wanted to do but never thought about before, like photography or sports or something that interests you. Remember that I want you to look with an open mind. You do not need to be qualified in that field or in that industry. Then make a list of all the fields that actually interest you. Then look at the job descriptions for each field and see what catches your eye. The next step is to do some research and explore what it would take to prepare you to work in that field. Then draft a resume around a particular job in that field and see if your work or life experiences would help you qualify for it. You do not have to be qualified in a particular field to explore it. So have fun. Browse. Here's other tips that you can do to learn about different careers. There's lots of public information out there. Many colleges and universities have very detailed occupational guides, but you can also find a wide range of information and details online and in magazines and newspapers. Another thing you can do is shadow someone, meaning find someone actually performing the occupation you're interested in and asking permission to follow them throughout a typical day. This works even better if you can extend it through a full week or two. Or you can ask about internships. Apply for an internship in a business or an industry which has a wide range of interns. You can apprentice. Don't forget that many established masters in trade fields will offer apprenticeships to people who want to learn more about that specific trade. One of the benefits of apprenticeships is that they are often paid positions. You can also do volunteer work. Never overlook the possibilities of volunteering within the general career area that you're considering. The possibilities are virtually endless. And the next part of this is to network. If you are looking to change careers, then you need to begin to talk to friends, colleagues, counselors, people standing online in the supermarket, everybody that you meet, and let them know that you're looking for a new adventure, a new career, a new idea. Ask people that you know what they do and how they feel about it, what they like about it, what they don't like about it. If you keep your search to yourself, you are really narrowing down your field. You know the old adage, it doesn't so much matter what you know, but who you know? That's very important in a new career search. Who are your contacts? Who are the people that you've been dealing with for years? Who are their friends? What do they know? So many of my clients have secured jobs because of connections with other people. This is probably the most important part of finding out what you want to do next. So, you have lots of things to do, but understand that you don't have to make any decisions yet. This is just about gathering the information, because the more you know about a particular field, the more you begin to know about yourself. And make sure you keep notes. Write things down. You're not going to remember all of this if you just keep everything in your head. And lastly, you need to look upon this as an adventure. It is a new way, a new path. Have fun with it. Here's another email from one of my listeners. Dear Pushy Broad from the Bronx, I've raised kids for 20 years. I'm in my late 40s and I have to re-enter the workforce. My skills are basically being a stay-at-home mom. How can I get a job after all these years? Eleanor from Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks so much for your email, Eleanor. I see this all the time. People returning to the workforce that have not been there for several years and don't think they're qualified to do anything except raising kids. Well, one of the first pitfalls that people fall into when planning a career is to start out with the careers instead of with themselves. As we all know, most of us can easily fool ourselves into believing certain things, often about our own personalities, attitudes, aptitudes, and characters. If you start with specific careers, you might end up narrowing your choices based on various opinions, such as what you think you are good at, rather than what you are actually good at. So here's where we can start. Make sure to start your career planning by better understanding yourself, your own needs, your likes, your dislikes, your goals and plans, your character or personality. Sometimes we are so driven by what we think we have to do under the guidelines of make the kind of money we need to make, or we're pressured because of bills or all of those other crises things that we don't take the time to really find out what we would like to do. Far too many people choose something less important as their main criteria in a career planning search, like money. Of course, we're all impressed with visions of dollar signs and we all need to make money, but we all want to be realistic as well. We want to be able to have some flexibility, take some time off, do something that we love, preoccupy ourselves with an adventure in a career that gives us joy, maybe inspiration, motivation, enlightenment, and learning. And sometimes we put that on the back burner for how much money is this job going to make for me? I want you to know that there are many moms returning to the workforce. Employers understand the time lapse from your last job to now, and that may be decades long. But I need you to be honest with prospective employers. Tell them why you have missed some time. But also, think about what you did before you had kids. Did you go to school? Are you a college graduate? Was there a career that you wanted to pursue before marriage and family came first? Are there skills that you have utilized in the past couple of years raising your kids? Were you a good organizer in the PTA? Were you able to plan events? Did you do social functions? Do you like working with kids? Did you function as a nanny for quite a few kids? Do you think that makes you a good organizer? So take a look at some of the skills you've had in raising children and write them down. Those skills are very applicable in the real world. Don't worry about the gap. Start browsing. Start looking at some of the things you may like to do, whether or not you're qualified for it. Maybe at this moment in time you can volunteer or do an internship. Or maybe you want to look at new things, maybe take a class, educate yourself, brush up on your computer skills. All of these things are useful. Your time spent not working did not mean that you were not acquiring valuable skills that can be used in the workforce. You just have to rediscover what they are. And I'm going to give you some ways to find out. Try making a list of your personal interests, your favorite pastimes, your favorite games, your hobbies, what your ideal day would look like. Do you think you'd be more comfortable working with your hands? Maybe you enjoy working with other people. Maybe you enjoy working with children, with animals, with numbers, with words. All of those things narrow down the kinds of things you'd like to be doing next. What would you continue to work and do if you didn't get paid for it? What other interests do you have? Then take a look at all of those things and find the common thread of all of them. Narrow down the kind of job you think you might like from all of your personal interests. Maybe you wanted to study something new that you never had a chance to do before. Start to make lists about what your personal interests are, and then you can decide what to do from there. The whole idea is to make you happy first, before you can decide what job will make you happy. What if you can solve the biggest problems in your life if you only knew how to think about them differently? Do you have trouble making decisions because you feel torn or paralyzed or simply afraid of making the wrong choice? Do you feel that maybe you could live a happier life, but you just don't know where to begin? Do you ever wonder why you have trouble connecting in relationships because you're always in conflict? If you could change the way you think about things, then your feelings and your actions would change as well. If you had the tools to change negative thoughts to positive thoughts, how different would your life be? How would thinking differently allow you to make healthy decisions, to energize your self-esteem, recharge your relationships, truly transform your life? My breakthrough program, Think Differently, Take Command of Your Life, will do just that. Learn more about it at pushybroadfromthebronx.com. Do you want quick answers to things with no BS? Here's my segment, No or Yes.
When you need a quick answer, no BS. Ask the pushy broad and she'll say no or yes.
Dear Pushy Broad from the Bronx, does my lack of computer skills prevent me from getting a good job? 9 out of 10 times the answer to that question is yes. You are nowhere in this world without computer skills, no matter what. But it's not expensive to be able to up your game. One of the best ways to learn things is from YouTube. Go there, actually Google or put in the search engine computer training, Microsoft Word, Excel, the basic things. If you don't know how to navigate Word or Excel, then you will probably not succeed the way you want to. Unless you are doing something with your hands, strictly with your hands, then you really do need, for any kind of office work whatsoever, to have your computer skills. So take the time and learn. Most of the training is free. I've also found that most of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s can take adult education classes for a nominal amount of money and spend 4 or 5 weeks taking a Word course or an Excel course, which will make a great bit of difference in the kind of job that you can secure. So don't be afraid. Go take a class. Here's my next segment, 10 minutes of tears.
When you're feeling sad and kind of blue, rather lost and not really in it, don't stay angry, lost or confused. 10 minutes of tears is certainly for you. Please cry, but only for 10 minutes.
For many of us, the idea of reinventing ourselves is a very scary situation. I've talked to several people just this week in their 50s and early 60s that are in serious danger of being laid off from work. I've also talked to many people in their 30s and 40s that are thinking about a career change. And then, of course, we have the back-to-work parents who have spent years raising children and now want to go back into the workforce. The whole idea of reinventing ourselves and doing something new and seeing how we can follow our passions is very scary, and sometimes very scary to the point where we don't think we're going to be able to manage things. Our fears get in the way. We are desperately trying to make ends meet. Maybe we're worried about where our next rent check will come from. And maybe after working for 25 years in one job, we're terrified at the thought of actually doing something new. All of these things represent honest and real fears that everybody has from time to time. So you are not alone. But the best way to overcome these things is to begin to forge a plan. So take that 10 minutes of tears, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and understand that you can move forward. And I want you to begin to think differently around this. Instead of being afraid of changing and doing something new, I need you to try to look at it as a leap of faith in a new adventure, an exciting new journey. So once you have outlined your personal interests, I want you to ask yourself some basic questions about you in order to form a more accurate plan to go forward. The more you take stock and write down your plan and focus your attention, the less fearful you will be, and that 10 minutes of tears moment will quickly vanish into a new and exciting journey. So first, what's your current life situation? Are you married? Are you single? Do you own a home? Do you have an apartment? What kind of debts are you incurring right now? What kind of life savings do you have to fall back on for a while? It's not as easy as it used to go out and get a job, especially if you're reinventing yourself for the first time. So many financial experts will tell you that it would be great if you had at least 6 months of savings to get you through until you change careers or you found something for the first time. Make a list of what you need in terms of additional education or training. What kind of schooling may be helpful for you going forward? If you choose a career that requires additional education, would you need to work as well? So you would have to have a job and then maybe go to school at night or go to school part-time or go to school online. Would you be looking after children or even elderly parents that might require more time than the occupation will allow? What's your general plans in life? Do you have plan for a continued marriage, for a divorce? Do you still have a big family to contend with? Do you have children or no children? Do you want freedom to travel? Do you plan for an early retirement? What income range would be really acceptable for you to fulfill these goals? What are your personal values or ethics? For example, are you religious? Do you care tremendously about the environment? Do children always come first? Are the underprivileged classes near and dear to your heart? What causes would you like to pursue? What are you passionate about? Do you have special interests or hobbies? How do people fit into your work style preferences? Do you prefer to work alone or in groups? Do you like dealing with people, or do you wish they would all go away and leave you alone to get your work done? Are your coworkers okay? Do you dislike dealing with the general public? Get an idea of what your work environment would be like in an ideal situation. Are you more traditional? Do you prefer structure? Or do you like surprise and variety? For example, would self-employment be an option for you? Do you want consistent daily activities that you can learn and become expert at? Do you prefer constant change and learning through new things? What are you good at versus what subjects seem to immediately constrict a mental block in your brain the minute you even try to think about them? The more you get a handle on who you are as opposed to what you want to do next, the better chance you have of moving into something that you will really be passionate about and enjoy. Here's my last segment. I'm talking here.
I'm talking here.
I'm talking here. Listen. Learn. Pay attention. I'm talking here. There are statistics that say most people change careers at least 3 times in their lifetimes. Now, that might sound overwhelming, but consider that it covers everyone on the globe, from folks with a high school diploma or those with a PhD. From those to business management, to those teaching graduate courses at top universities, to those that are regular workers, to those that go into an office every single day, or they deliver mail, or they work at a supermarket. It includes part-time and full-time workers. It includes those who work in traditional office settings and those who work in non-traditional locations, including entrepreneurs. It even covers those who work for others and those who are self-employed. But career planning today offers such a wide variety of occupational choices. And with the advent of technology, it makes it easier for you to find those choices more quickly and to investigate those choices before you actually take the plunge. For those of us that remember typing out our resumes and putting them in an envelope and sending them out the door with a stamp on them, and waiting for replies, and using the traditional phone to track down people, understand that some of those methods still do work, but we have the opportunity and the technology to get things done a lot faster. And more opportunities are with us every single day. In an article written by Stephen Bastian, who is a business consultant and expert on leadership and managing employees, he tells us some of the best reasons why hiring an older employee is sometimes the way to go. So if you are thinking that you are no longer a viable contender for a job just because you're not 25 anymore, think about some of the things that employers look at when they hire older employees. First, he says that the level of dedication to job and the quality of work is extremely high when it comes to older workers. They understand the sense of responsibility and loyalty. They also understand punctuality and are most often on time and do not take arbitrarily sick days or personal days. They are very dedicated to their jobs. Second, honesty is common among older workers, whose values as a group include personal integrity and a devotion to the truth. He also found that older workers are much more detail-oriented. They're focused and attentive workers, and they add an intangible value that rubs off on all the employees. They could also save your business thousands of dollars, as they're not only looking at their own picture, but many times looking at the big picture as well. Older employees also have a greater sense of what business is because they come from experience, so they have more life experiences in business to rely on. They're also good listeners. They make great employees because they're easier to train. Older employees only have to be told once what to do. Older employees also have a sense of pride in their job for doing a job well done. Younger workers sometimes tend to want to put their time in at work and leave, while older employees are more willing to stay later to get a job done because of their sense of pride in the final product. Older employees also have organizational skills that some younger employees may not have. Younger employees may have trouble organizing their priorities so that some of their work may be more scattered. Efficiency and confidence to share their recommendations and ideas make older workers ideal employees. Their years of experience in the workplace give them a superior understanding of how jobs can be done more efficiently, which does save companies money. Their confidence, built up through the years, means they won't hesitate to share their ideas with management. Older workers also come with a maturity that comes from years of life and work experience and makes for workers who get less rattled when problems occur. Setting an example for other employees is also an intangible value many business owners appreciate. Older workers make excellent mentors and role models, which makes training other employees less difficult. Older employees also have better communication skills. They know how and when to communicate effectively through years of experience. Older workers understand workplace politics and how to diplomatically navigate those politics. There are also some monetary benefits to hiring older workers, like reduced labor costs. They're a huge benefit when hiring older employees. Most already have insurance plan from prior employers or have additional resources of income and are willing to take a little less sometimes to get the job they want. And finally, older workers understand that working for a company is much more than just a paycheck. They have a certain sense of pride in accomplishment, and they do want to be contributory. And an older worker really has a strong sense of responsibility and commitment. So if you're in that category, this is where I want you to realize how valuable you are in the workforce. Whether you're starting and reinventing yourself in something brand new, or you are coming back to work after years of doing something else. Take pride in what you've accomplished and all of your life experiences. Really get to know yourself. Take a look at your personal interests and your strengths, and the vast experience that comes from learning life's lessons to navigate them mentally and emotionally. You are the star. Continue to shine brightly, whatever your new endeavor. This is Ellen Stewart, the Pushy Broad from the Bronx, saying thanks for listening, and remember, everybody needs a little push.
From the pushy broad from the Bronx, New York.
The Pushy Broad from the Bronx would like to thank her production team: songwriter, composer, musician, and sound man Sam Goche, voice artist and announcer Taylor Goche. Oh, that's me! And thanks to collaborative writer and assistant production manager Richard Torres, virtual assistant and social media guru Kimberly Studdard. Special thanks to Laura Kravitz, production manager, and Susan Herman, collaborative writer. And a very special thanks to Love Love Studios in Brooklyn, for recording and mixing our music.
Here is disclaimer information that we are required to produce.
Professional coaches provide an ongoing partnership designed to help clients produce fulfilling results in their personal and professional lives. Coaches help people improve their performances and enhance the quality of their lives. Coaching services received from certified life coach Ellen Stewart, the Pushy Broad from the Bronx, are not offered as a substitute for professional mental health care or medical care, and are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any mental health or medical conditions. The Pushy Broad from the Bronx is not acting as a mental health counselor or a medical professional. All comments and ideas offered by Ellen Stewart, the Pushy Broad from the Bronx, are solely for the purpose of aiding her audience in achieving their goals, and hopefully keep you smiling in the process.